putting this stuff in the car. Also, for weddings like today, we're traveling about 2 hours away, so we want food. So today is a wedding on the coast. I'm headed to my bandmate's house, and we're gonna carpool from there because it's about a 2-hour drive. It's a bit more professional to take fewer cars, and rather than taking 5 cars, because there's 5 of us, I'm taking 2 cars. Got my suit there. I got my stuff in the back, food, my bag. If you're traveling a bit to the gig, you're far enough away from your house that you can't just run back and get something if you forget it. Make a checklist. I am terrified of getting to a gig and realizing I forgot something really important. I actually have this weird tick where every time I pack my bass, or if it's a guitar gig, pack my guitar in my car, I have to open the case after I put it in my guitar and look inside of the case and make sure the instrument is in there. I've never in my life grabbed my guitar case or bass case and forgotten to put the instrument inside of the case and then put it in my guitar, and then put it in my car. But for some reason, that idea entered into my brain one day.
Oh my God, what if I grabbed my case and I didn't bring my instrument?
So from that day forth, this was years ago, from that day forth, every single time I go to a gig, I have to do that double check. And I've forgotten to do that sometimes when I've loaded. And so then I'll have to pull over on the side of the road on my way to the gig to check it. And here we are at my drummer's house, transferring all the equipment into the minivan and about to make the drive to the coast.
So it's basically like it's a welding hood. So it looks like a motorcycle helmet with like a little cloth cinch around your neck. With an air tube that goes down to like a little air pack belt. So it pumps pure air into it's filtered air. There's a little filter over the bottom pack. Yeah. So that's cool to use. Yeah. Except for when you fart, you can like it sucks your fart into the air.
The office for today. Gonna set up our canopy right here. Look at the ocean while we play. It's gonna be a good one. And the setup begins. We already have our canopy up and our mains and some of the other stuff already in place. We also have our rugs down today on the ground because we do not have a stage. This was a pretty casual gig, even though it was a wedding. And that's what happens when you don't have a stage. People get drunk and they run into your stuff. They knock your stuff over. Luckily today, it was just a light, nothing more important or expensive than that. We actually have had people knock over instruments. We once had a guy knock over one of our mains, one of those big speakers that you see at the front corners. That was a bad scene. That was the same wedding where a fight broke out as we were loading up after the wedding. Today though, great vibes. Everybody here was super cool. No fights, no expensive equipment being knocked over. I just set up my pedal board. You can see me taking my bass head out of its case now, setting that up. And I keep it on the ground like that because I do not use a cabinet. I have everything coming out of that monitor that I just set up so I can hear everything really well. I usually just have mostly my vocals and my bass and maybe a little bit of some other stuff depending on how big the stage is. It sounds fine to the audience because my bass comes out of those mains. Not having a cabinet is obviously easier in terms of not having to bring a cabinet around from gig to gig, but also it sounds better for me on stage because I don't have that bass cabinet blaring at the back of my head, which really just muddies things up. You can see I'm grabbing the mic cable for my vocal mic out of the console here. This console is great because we have everything hardwired into it. All the cables are just ready to go, labeled, and we just open up the console and grab our cables, plug everything in, and we're good to go. Now you can see I'm plugging in my monitor, and I have an app on my tablet where I can control exactly what's coming out of my monitor, which is really convenient to be able to make adjustments on the fly like that. Tucking in all the cables, making sure it looks nice and neat, because that is important. That's another great function of the rugs besides making it look nice. It helps us hide the cables and avoid tripping over the cables. And I just plugged in my head. So those are the 3 things that I need to plug in. And once I get all that stuff plugged in and I get all my mic and my pedal board and all that stuff set up and plugged in, I'm pretty much good to go. My setup is mainly over, and now I can grab my bass, take that out, put it on the stand, get the strap on it, and we are now ready to move on to kind of the second phase of the setup, which is setting up the lights and kind of putting the finishing touches on everything. We want everything to look really nice and neat and orderly. Having lights is just kind of essential, especially if you're playing outside at night when it's going to get dark. You're going to have some sort of light, so you might as well have cool lights like this that are sound activated and change with the beat. And visual presentation is just huge. No matter how good you are at playing your instrument and playing the songs, if things don't look right, if things don't look professional, it's not going to come off very professional. So we try to be as visually put together as we are put together in terms of our musicianship. And also, we want things to sound good. We want the sound quality and the mix to be really good. So that's what we're doing here. We're doing first individual line checks, making sure our instruments individually sound good, and then a sound check as a band. You can see our guitar player has a mixer on his tablet where he can bring it out in front of the mains and hear what that's going to sound like to the audience and make adjustments. And we are all good. And of course, can't help but be an idiot and give you the finger guns. These guys were really the stars of the show for me. Anytime there's a dog at a wedding, I got to take a picture of them because that's my favorite thing. So evidently the ceremony today is down there. Oh, there we go. Way down there. So we're waiting for that to happen. And then, when that happens, after that happens, we shall play. You ready?
All right, we're gonna cut the cake. We're gonna be cutting the cake. Thank you guys so much for having us. Give them a bigger, come on, let's make some noise for these two. They did cake stands for crying out loud.
Hey guys, I put a big to-go tray.
Oh, wow.
It's mostly all the pots and the fried rice and that kind of stuff, but
Awesome.
so whoever decides to take it with them, take it.
Thank you so much. I'm back up. Everybody's least favorite time of the night. So a good time was had by all. Yeah, like I said, The teardown is always the worst part of the gig. You're tired, you've been at the gig for hours at this point. You're just trying to get everything packed and loaded and get home as soon as possible. So that's what we're dealing with here. There's also a lot more confusion involved, I find, in the teardown. There's a lot of standing around scratching your head wondering what you should do next, just because, oh, accidentally turned our light off there. Just because you're exhausted and you're just not thinking quite as clearly as you are during setup. Of course, had to get another quick video of the dog just for posterity, and back to work. And at this point, we're getting pretty close. We're all out of our work clothes, just wrapping up the last few cables, putting all the odds and ends away. And luckily the loadout today was really easy. We just had a ramp right around the corner, went right to the parking lot. All right, it's currently 12:43 a.m. on my way to my house. The good news is it was a really good gig. Everybody at the wedding was super nice. Lots of dancing the entire time. Really great gig. Bad news is we have another wedding tomorrow for which we have to leave at 7 a.m. So it's going to be close to 2 by the time I get to sleep. And then I'll get up at 6 something. We're going to be there tomorrow until 10:30. Get home at 2:30. It's a long weekend. That is not normal. It's not super normal for us to have 2 weddings back to back, but even when we do, the schedule isn't usually that intense. The fact that we have to be at the wedding tomorrow so early is pretty unusual. We have to be there at 11 because we have to be set up by 1 because that's when guests arrive. It's much more normal that we have to arrive at weddings at noon at the earliest, or usually more like 1 or 2. Like today we arrived at 1 and we could have arrived at 2. That's more normal. But it just worked out this way, so I'm not getting much sleep tonight. That's how it is. Oh well. It's still a fun time.